Behind every legend lies a reason. This is Myth and Motive.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are undoubtedly very familiar with the name Everest. This highest mountain in the world has become a symbol of courage, perseverance, and a spirit of exploration. With a height of 8,848 meters above sea level, Everest belongs to the Himalayan range and lies on the border between Nepal and Tibet, China. This mountain not only attracts adventure enthusiasts but is also an important part of human geological and cultural history. The summit of Everest is called Sagarmatha in Nepal and Chomolungma in Tibet. It is not just a mountain but also holds deep spiritual significance for many people. Local people regard it as a sacred mountain and often hold ceremonies to pray for the safety of climbers. These traditional practices add cultural depth to the journeys to the summit of Everest. Although Everest is mostly covered in snow, it also has a unique ecosystem. Some species of flora and fauna, such as the snow leopard, Himalayan black bear, and various wildflowers, still survive in areas near the base of the mountain. However, the increase in tourists and resource exploitation activities has threatened the biodiversity here. Everest has harsh weather conditions with temperatures that could drop to minus 60 degrees Celsius, strong winds, and sudden snowstorms. These factors create a challenging environment even for experienced climbers. Lack of oxygen and low atmospheric pressure at high altitudes are also potential risks. The summit of Everest was first conquered on May 29, 1953, by Sir Edmund Hillary from New Zealand and Tenzing Norgay, a Sherpa from Nepal. This journey opened a new era for mountaineering, making Everest the dream destination for many climbers. Although many have succeeded in conquering Everest, not a few have paid with their lives. Recently, the world's highest peak has also attracted attention due to some discoveries that have amazed and frightened scientists. But what is that? Let's find out right after this. 1. Everest is severely polluted, with microplastics and a lot of waste appearing. When thinking of Everest, you might imagine snowy peaks, spectacular natural scenery, and brave climbers. However, the reality is quite the opposite. Everest is becoming one of the most heavily polluted areas in the world. Scientists have announced that the amount of waste on Everest has increased significantly over the years. According to a study conducted by the World Meteorological Organization, WMO, about 200 tons of waste are currently present on Everest, including types of waste such as plastic bottles, canned food, climbing gear, and even the bodies of deceased climbers. Worryingly, this amount of waste has tripled over the past 30 years. Since Everest became a popular destination for adventure enthusiasts, a recent survey by a research team from Kathmandu University indicated that 40% of the waste on Everest is generated from climbing activities. Additionally, according to data from the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, about 75% of the waste is plastic, including plastic bottles, bags, and other plastic products. All of this has created a situation that is hard for anyone to imagine on the world's highest mountain. One of the most concerning discoveries related to pollution on Everest is the presence of microplastics. A study published in the journal Environmental Science and Technology found that 99% of snow samples collected from various areas of Everest contain microplastics. Microplastics are plastic fragments smaller than 5 millimeters, which can form from the breakdown of larger plastic products or be manufactured as small particles from the sun, such as plastic beads and exfoliating products, cosmetics, and other commercial items. The presence of microplastics has become a serious environmental issue globally, and Everest is not exempt from this impact. Microplastics are not only present in snow but are also found in nearby water sources. In a study by the Nepal Water and Environment Research Institute, about 70% of water samples taken from streams around the base of Everest contain microplastics. The consequences of pollution on Everest do not stop at the landscape and environmental quality. Studies have shown that environmental pollution, especially plastic pollution, can harm human health and wildlife. Microplastics can enter the food chain and accumulate in the body, leading to serious health problems.
Microplastics can cause serious health issues, including pneumonia, endocrine disorders, and even cancer.
According to the World Health Organization, WHO, exposure to microplastics can lead to many serious diseases, especially in areas with high pollution density like Everest.
Microplastics can harm animal species living in the environment around Everest. Animals,
especially fish and birds, can mistake microplastics for food. The accumulation of microplastics in animals' bodies can lead to health decline and reduced reproductive ability.
Pollution on Everest can also affect the biodiversity in the area. The presence of plastic waste and microplastics can degrade the habitat quality for animals and plants, leading to a decline in biodiversity. As mentioned, the presence of microplastics in water sources around Everest can cause serious water pollution. This not only affects water quality but can also endanger communities living in the area.
Who depend on this water source for daily life and agricultural production. In the face of this alarming pollution situation, scientists and environmental organizations are calling for intervention from the Nepalese government and the international community. The Nepalese government needs to implement stricter regulations on the amount of waste that climbing groups must bring back when returning from Mount Everest.
Educational programs for climbers about environmental awareness and waste reduction are also continuously being promoted. The increasing pollution, the appearance of microplastics, and their consequences are raising a series of questions about the future of this mountain. Without timely interventions, Everest could transform from a beautiful symbol into a typical example of environmental destruction.
A few days ago, The Guardian reported that part of Mr. Andrew Irvine's remains were found on the slopes of Mount Everest a century after he and mountaineer George Mallory died during the Everest expedition.
The two were last seen approaching the summit of Everest on June 8, 1924. The disappearance became one of the longest-standing mysteries in mountaineering, as members of the British climbing team long believed that Mr. Irvine and Mr. Mallory died after reaching the summit.
Mr. Mallory's body was discovered in 1999. In September 1924, a group of climbers and filmmakers discovered two booted feet in climbing boots, with the letters A.C. Irvine clearly engraved on the outside. Mr. Mallory's body showed signs of injury, suggesting that he had fallen. However, questions remain as to whether he had conquered the summit of Everest.
When found, Mr. Mallory's body did not have the photo of his wife that he intended to leave on the summit. This is considered evidence that the mountaineer reached the summit of Everest and died on the way back. S. Boob was found on a glacier below the north face of Everest, near where Mr. Mallory.
The accident has left their journey still a question mark to this day. Meanwhile, the first people officially recognized to have reached the summit of Everest were mountaineers Edmund Hillary and Patsy Norgay in 1953. Ms. Julie Summers, granddaughter of Mr. Andrew Irvine, said that since she was 7 years old, she had heard the story about the mystery of her uncle on Everest. The story became more real when Mr. George Mallory was discovered in 1999.
Did he overcome the death zone on Everest?
According to statistics, about 200 professional mountaineers from around the world have fallen into the death zone of Everest while conquering the world's roof and have permanently. For professional mountaineers, the death zone is no longer an abstract concept because reaching the death zone is when they overcome a series of extremely harsh difficulties. So what is the death zone? The death zone is the altitude above 8,000 meters from sea level. At this altitude, oxygen is the scarcest and most precious thing for human lungs. According to the British Royal Medical Association, at this terrifying altitude, the air is extremely thin, only 30. To understand how scarce oxygen is in the death zone is described by professional mountaineers. You only need to imagine this. Even when wearing an oxygen tank at altitudes above,
breathing is as difficult as running on a treadmill at the highest speed.
But only being able to breathe through a tiny in the world, the mountaineer who conquered Everest without an oxygen, meaning he surpassed the death zone. Continuing to climb nearly 900 meters more to reach the summit of Everest without it.
That was Reinhold Messner.
4. The Wandering Souls on Everest.
The stories about souls and invisible presences on Everest
are not just legends but also vivid experiences of many climbers. These stories often leave strong impressions and create eerie feelings, making Everest a place not only full of challenges but also very mysterious. Rob Hall, one of the most famous mountain, was the founder of the company Adventure Consult. In 1996, he led a group of climbers up Everest but encountered a terrible snowstorm. In this storm, Rob and some team members had to stay near the summit, and that led to a heartbreaking tragedy. They were trapped and Rob Hall called his wife in his final moments. Stories about strange sounds that other climbers heard in that area, like Rob's calls or distant whispers, have created a mysterious aura around his death. From the diary of a team member who survived the tragedy, I heard a gentle voice as if Rob was calling us. But when I turned around, there was no one. I didn't. Another mountaineer named David Sharp once shared in an interview that he had a strange experience while climbing Everest. While resting at camp, he felt as if someone was standing beside him. Although there was no one there, David described that the cold and fearful feeling kept him from sleeping. I felt a strong presence around me. It wasn't fear, but a strange feeling, as if someone was trying to tell me something. I could only stand up and continue climbing. Many mountaineers also report strange, like feeling watched, unexplained sounds, or even strange dreams when sleeping on the night. A British mountaineer named Richard Huss experienced a haunting night when he heard voices from people who had disappeared there. Richard shared, "I don't know how long I slept, but I heard my name being called. It wasn't the voice of someone familiar, but the voice of someone I had never met. I felt like they were trying to tell me something important." 5. The Yeti Snow Monster on Earth. Yeti, also known as the Snowman on Earth, is one of the most famous legends related to, as well as Mount Everest. The legend of Yeti has existed in Sherpa, and the peoples living around the Himalayas was, according to legend, Yeti is described with snow-white fur, living in rugged mountain forests. In Sherpa language, the word Yeti means. This shows that the indigenous people have long regarded Yeti as part of their natural environment. According to many stories, Yeti is his and can communicate with humans. They often say that Yeti appears on heavy snow or in harsh weather conditions, making it difficult to see. One of the first recorded stories about Yeti, when a group of British explorers, led by Henry Amy Hopper, discovered giant footprints in the snow near the summit of Everest. This footprint was said to be larger than any human could possibly have, and it aroused the curiosity of many people. A large creature with footprints about 38 centimeters long and 22 centimeters. This discovery made many people believe that Yeti could be real. In the 1950s, an explorer named Eric Shipton published a famous photo believed to be in the photo, the giant footprint appeared, sparking many speculations about the existence of this creature. Shipton said, "We saw his footprint at an altitude of about 6,400, where no one else than us could reach. It was a huge footprint that couldn't belong to a human." Many people have claimed to have seen a Yeti over the years. One of the famous stories is that of M.A. Kadka, a Sherpa living here. He recounted that in 1990, he saw a giant creature with white fur standing on a fairly. Kadka described, "It was much taller than me, with long arms. When I approached, it turned away and disappeared into the forest. I have never forgotten it." Although there are many stories about the Yeti, there is no solid scientific evidence to prove the existence of it. Biologists and researchers have tried to learn about the Yeti, but have not been able to reach a definitive conclusion. A study conducted by the Institute of Biology that is evidence that many pieces of evidence about the Yeti may, such as bears or monkeys, 6. Mount Everest is getting higher, surprising. Mount Everest, the world's highest mountain, continues to increase in height over time. And scientists have found some interesting reasons. First, it is due to tectonic activity. Mount Everest is part of the Himalayas, formed from the collision between the Indian plate. This collision not only created the mountain, but also causes strong tectonic activity, making Everest continue to rise. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the Indian plate is moving north at a rate of. This collision not only causes Everest to, but also creates seismic activities, like the strong earthquake in Nepal in which increased Everest's height by about 3. A study published in a journal, Geophysical Research Letters, in 2016 showed that major earthquakes can change the height of mountains. This study indicates that earthquakes can increase Everest's height by. Another reason is the growth of rock layers. The rocks and minerals beneath Everest are also constantly changing and regenerating. The uplift of new rock layers from deep also partly contributes to the mountain's height. Dr. Mark Allen, a geologist, we found that not only is there collision between, but there is also an increase in rock layers, creating significant changes in Everest. We also cannot ignore climate change. Rising temperatures due to climate change lead to rapid melting of glaciers on Everest. As the ice melts, the weight of the ice is reduced, and this can lead to the mountain's upward drift. According to the IPCC climate movement, temperatures in the Himalayan region have increased over the past 100 years, higher than. This causes the glaciers on Everest to melt at a rapid rate. A study by the Institute for Ice and Climate shows that Himalayan glaciers are losing about 20 to 30 meters of thickness. As the ice melts, Everest's temperature has increased by more than 1.5 degrees. As the ice melts, Everest's climate causing its height to potentially increase. In addition to melting, climate change also creates a phenomenon. As the ice melts, the ground beneath may, and this leads to the soil layer returning to the, causing Everest's upward drift. Dr. Rahavan, a climate researcher, explained that when the ice layer melts, the ground beneath is no longer compressed, and this causes it to rise. This can lead to an increase in Everest's height over time. The increase in Everest's height will not stop. Scientists predict that in the coming years, the mountain's height will continue to increase due to geological factors and climate change. Thus, Everest is not only a place but also a stark rock canvas about mystery and reality. And these stark rock canvases are profound toward the planet. Discoveries about Everest not only add, but also serve as a reminder to us about what in this world. In an era of increasing environmental challenge, Everest is where nature's voice rings out, urging us to act immediately to protect not only the majestic mountains, but also our planet. Thank you all for your support. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you goodbye and see you again.
If the legend hooked you, subscribe and open the next case.